What's up? Welcome to episode 113 of the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast. Brought to you as always by us, Matt. How was your Christmas?
It was fantastic. I tell everybody, I've been asked this a bunch. They're like, how are your Christmas? It's like, my girls had a fantastic Christmas. Therefore, I had a fantastic Christmas myself.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like my oldest now is just getting to the age where she kind of understands it. You know, like my 2 and 4-year-old, then they open the presents, they're pumped, but they don't really get like Santa and everything else. So, you know, your girls are slightly older, so they probably kind of appreciate all that stuff. And I feel like maybe in maybe 2 more years or so at my house, it'll be a lot more fun. But we had a good time.
Yeah, and I've run the gamut, so there's different levels of appreciation. I've got a
because you got what, 16, 11, 6? Is that what you're at?
Yeah, pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 to 15. But yeah, so there's different levels of appreciation that I enjoy now. And yeah, I remember being back at your stage where, you know, when you got the little ones, you're like, why did we even buy these kids toys?
Yes.
Just wrap up a box, roll it out to them, play with the wrapping paper. They get a kick out of that. You know, after an hour, they forget about the toy anyway. So just, you know, rewrap the box, like, hey, another toy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Their favorite present is a box. Just the new parents recognize that. Don't spend any money. Give them a box. Give them a marker. They can make it a car or a house or whatever the hell they want to make it. It's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you know, I was at Midlands for sessions 2 and 3. Then we watched session 4 at my club. I got a question for you, Matt. And this one's been bugging me because, and I noticed it a little bit. I think I noticed Midlands, obviously, not a huge crowd. You're kind of closer to the mats. And I think I noticed it more than ever. But these college coaches are flexing on each other so much. And I just feel like it's so unnecessary. And it's so – I mean, if it happened once in a while, but okay, I get it. But it's all the freaking time. Did you flex on people when you're head coach, or how do you feel about that?
I mean, we're all past our prime, so all we can do is yell at each other and feel good about ourselves to justify our existence. You know, I think it's one of those things where it's, you know, I'm not proud to say I got caught up in these things, but I think occasionally when there's so much emotion on the line, and especially like a big time tournament like the Midlands or Cliff Keen, you know, that are really major events that are happening throughout the year, you know, as the rounds progress, as the intensity grows, you're naturally even more on edge. You try and be a calming presence behind the scenes. And then when you get in the fire with your guys, you're like, hey, I got to show my guys I'm willing to fight just as hard as they are. But typically what it does is, like, for whatever reason, I think there's a handful of chirpers out there, right?
Yeah,
I never really looked at myself as a guy that chirped unless I was chirped at. And then I chirped back. And I'm not proud of it, but, you know, I think it's one of those things where I think, you know, when you look at some coaches, I think they think they can use a form of intimidation on the coaches in the other corner, or they feel that they can,
or the referee possibly
influence the referee. Like I said, so I think coaches are naturally always fighting for territory for their wrestlers, right? They're fighting for calls, you know. They're fighting for influence. They're fighting to influence the ref. They're fighting for their individual athletes. And when you know, I think naturally when a coach starts fighting for their athletes, the coach on the other side is naturally going to want to fight for his athlete. I think it's a natural thing. But, you know, when you get in the level of pettiness, and this is what I loved about Midlands, when there's not that many people in the stands.
You hear everything.
You can actually hear the level of ridiculous, incoherent, nonsensical thoughts that are just spewed out of the mouths of these coaches. And I know for myself, looking back, I was like, oh, man, you're a jackass. Did you really just say that? Did that really come out of your mouth? Because in the heat of the moment, sometimes, like, I don't even know what I said. I just wanted to fight.
Oh my God.
I wanted to fight for my athletes. And,
yeah.
But
I think like, hey, if I would have stuck around in the college wrestling world and never left, I'm not perfect, right? I'm sure I probably would have done that type of thing. But now, being out of that world for nearly a decade where I haven't been at college coaching, man, I'm like, oh my God, this is so absurd. So here's my second question. Second question for you, Matt, is it feels as though more and more college coaches are deciding to take this Christmas break off. Obviously, if we go 2 decades back, Midlands was the thing. I mean, holy crap. And then, scuffle became a really, really big thing. And now it just feels like Midlands wasn't that big. I just looked at the scuffle pre-seeds. Not all that great. I guess they got a few teams down in South Beach doing a few matches and stuff. But do you feel as though more teams are deciding to take this time period off?
Yes, and I think it's a great thing.
So say you went back to college coaching tomorrow. Would you take the Christmas break off from competition?
Yeah, because I also had the same philosophy when it came to Thanksgiving. I never wanted to wrestle on Thanksgiving. I thought it's important for guys to get away from campus, get reconnected with their families, enjoy their families before they get thrown back in the fire. Now, over the holiday season, now where I was in the EIWA for the last couple of years of my career, as I structured my schedule, the Midlands or a holiday tournament was more, in some ways, I actually stayed away from that, the latter half during my time up in New York, because I chose to go to Cliff Keen, and that satisfied what I was looking for your major competition during the regular season.
Multiple weigh-ins, really tough competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. All that, checked all the boxes. And I'm like, why not just go to Vegas where I could still go home and send these guys home where they can get refreshed, recharged. I think it's a more contemporary way of thinking and training for the athletes in this day and age. I think it's a more a healthier thing. I think it keeps the guys more engaged, because I know for some guys you would almost have to talk them into competing at the level they need to compete at. You just never knew what you were going to get. I knew.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, man, these, you send them home, with some guidelines. Guys, when you're home, and I know you're only going to be home for a couple of days, just make sure you keep all these things in check.
Work out a little bit. Don't eat too much. It's simple, right?
And then ready to, flip the switch and compete, just below a tournament that on the level of the NCAA tournament, be ready to go at such a high level. I think it's kind of an antiquated view of competition where we always felt as a sport where we always had to out tough other sports. Like, we're not going to enjoy things. I'm not going to enjoy Thanksgiving. I'm not going to enjoy Christmas. I have to be in work mode, competition mode for 4 months straight. I don't think that's feasible. I don't think it's the best way to.
Well, let's not say feasible. Let's say the most effective.
Effective.
Most effective.
Yeah, that's
at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do, right? It's just like, some people and some kids cut weight. I would say, well, I'm sure you could make that weight class, but that's not the point. The point isn't to make weight. The point is to make weight and wrestle the most effectively possible. And if you do make that weight, you will not wrestle as effectively as possible. That's simple.
Right. I mean, and it's the principle of it too. Are we just trying to be tough for
toughness' sake?
For toughness' sake? Like, we're going to ignore Christmas. Like, I don't enjoy pleasure. I don't enjoy, my family. I have to go compete. Well, what's the point of that? There's a point that you need to be tough in March. That's all that matters. Now, the preparation and what goes into that, but what does it really serve to, hey, our athletes, we're already asking them to sacrifice on a number of levels with everything we do. I think, is it the best thing to ask them to sacrifice everything that's important to them in their life? Yeah. Their family, the holidays, things that we say. That's the funny thing. As coaches, what do we preach to our athletes? Hey, we preach about family, team, all these things, but then when the rubber meets the road, hey, coach, I actually want to see my family on Christmas. No, we have to compete. Well, why? Why are we competing, coach? Well, because it's the Midlands. Well, can't we get this somewhere else? And I think more and more coaches are saying, yes, I can get this elsewhere. I mean, I think we're talking about the holidays being Christmas right now, but I think if you look at the Northeast duels, the journeyman duels with Popolizio, I think that's why you've seen – I know for sure that's why you've seen him shift away from Thanksgiving to the second week of November, because finally all the coaches just drew a line in the sand like, hey, Popolizio, if this is happening on Thanksgiving, I'm not coming. I want my kids to go home. And so he adjusted his schedule based upon what the consumer demand was. They were finally the coaches and the programs were finally dictating. They're starting to dictate the terms of what their schedule want their schedule to look like.
Great. That's what should
as
happen.
Opposed to vice versa.
Yep, I agree. Okay, well, let's get. I didn't know you'd be so passionate about that. I kind of figured, just knowing you, I guess that's what you would say. But
what are your thoughts about that?
I think I would do the same thing. I don't think I would do Midlands. Scuffle is after the New Year, so you could probably give them off a few extra days. I know most college coaches are given, say, 3 to 5 days off. I would probably extend that to 6 or 7. I think that is an important time to go get refreshed, and hopefully you have athletes who are mature enough to go get a workout in. And I know that's college kids, so you're probably. Maybe that's asking too much, but I think if you can build that into the culture, that's something you're going to get. I mean, I know Coach Smith, I think 1 or 2 years he gave us that made days off. I kept training. I wanted to wrestle. I liked wrestling. I was responsible. I loved my time that I got to go back home over Christmas, but I was still getting my workouts in, obviously. So
it never, because you competed at the Midlands, correct?
No, I never. I wrestled as a red shirt. I didn't do very well. And then we wrestled at the Scuffle.
I thought Missouri typically.
No, we were never there. They went after I was gone, I think, for a year or two.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, we were at Scuffle 3 of my 4 years. So I won the Scuffle as freshman, junior, and senior. My sophomore year, I think we did. I think that was the year we got extra days off. I think we took the whole Christmas break off, I believe.
And I think they're actually going to the South Beach duels now.
They went to the South Beach duels. That was the 29th and 30th. And that's one where they're still competing. I guess, their take on it is, hey, our kids get to go get some sun. They're not in, say, at Cornell or Minnesota or Missouri where it's cold and miserable. They're down on the beach. They're hanging out. They're getting some matches. It's two matches a day, so it's not all that intense. That's their take on it, which I get it. Sure, that's fine. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, I know. But when Rob Cole formalized this event a couple years ago, I was still in coaching, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, Matt," he's like, "I got a concept. I want to run it by you." He's like, "Are you tired of getting up at 5 a.m. the day after Christmas or 2 days after Christmas, sitting in a gym for 10 hours, only to turn around and do it again the next day, and you run home and you got to have New Year's Eve and then turn around and start competing again?" I was like, yeah, I think everybody is, Rob. He's like, would you actually like to compete, but do it in a setting where your kids would enjoy it? I guarantee you wouldn't have to wake up before 10 o'clock or get your guys to the gym or for weigh-ins until 10 o'clock. And then you'd be out of the gym by 3 o'clock. I was like, yeah, and he said, and you could actually get some decent competition. I was like, sure, I'd be all about it. And I think
did you go?
Yeah, we went.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think it is something, but on the flip side of that, I know the concern of competing over the holidays for coaches is like what athlete am I going to get back a day after Christmas?
Yeah.
And I think the concern going down to Florida is like, what athlete am I going to get? What team am I going to get when I go down to Florida? And it's that fine line between enjoying yourself, but we're also there's business to be had. There's business to be taken care of.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the beach, and most of these guys have rarely been to a beach, rarely been down to Florida. And so how engaged can you keep them? How do you keep them straddling the line between enjoying Florida, but also having that edge that you got to compete at a high level? So I think they're both tricky. Yeah, I
totally agree. Okay, Matt, we do have to talk about the Midlands today. I was there for some of it. I think the takeaway is Iowa is really, really, really good. I think the takeaway is also they're not invincible. There are some weight class. I mean, we'll go weight class by weight class. There's some weight classes where they're, Midlands. I don't want to say, showed the weakness, but it also said, when you're talking about Mark Hall is going to be in the finals, Vincenzo Joseph is going to be in the finals. Hey, now with Anthony Cassar, we don't know where he's going to be. I mean, listen, I don't want to talk crazy, Matt. I think Iowa's probably going to win the team title this year. If Cassar is not in the lineup, I think they're winning for sure. I think it's like done deal.
Yeah, I mean, you take that guy out, even if you replace him with whoever, a Nevels or Kirkley Yvette. I mean, you're not replacing the points, and that's probably enough of a tipping point without his 25 plus points. Even if you replace him with 15, and right now potentially we're trying to figure out where Penn State can fill the gap.
They can. I don't think they can.
Yeah, you take a guy like that out. And if you want to throw in the Ironman piece into the discussion, which I don't know if you heard anything while you were down in Chicago.
I heard nothing.
Yeah. I mean, that.
Max Murin looked pretty good. I mean, I know there was no one super high ranked there. Max Murin had a solid tournament. So, I don't think there's a huge desire a huge need for them to have Ironman in the lineup. But obviously he makes them better. There's no doubt about that.
But you know what? If you're the Hawkeyes,
I'm doing all hands on deck.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say, hey, I'm not going to say I think we got this. I think we're good. I think people have said that 3 or 4 times in the last decade, but has it ever happened? No. I'd be I'm going to. If I can win by 50, if I can win by 50, I'm going to try and win by 50. And if something bad happens and I only win by 25, okay. So I think. I would beyond a shadow of a doubt, I would put my strongest lineup out there, all hands on deck to your point, Yeah. If I would put him out there.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's go weight by weight here. Let's go start at 125. So Spencer Lee wrestles to the semis, the medical forfeits out. I thought that was interesting. I'm not really sure what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it. Obviously,
you really have to get into the whole ducking thing again.
I don't know. I'm not even bringing that up. I don't think that to be the case.
Because I kind of heard some of those things.
There's message board chatter that is the case because obviously he didn't wrestle Patrick Glory at the Princeton match either.
I was going to say pump the brakes, but the guy just destroyed the best wrestlers in the country 2 weeks ago on the senior level. You think he's ducking Pat Glory? He's 2-0 against Pat Glory. He's got a tech fall in a major or 6-0 decision. Like, I don't. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Again, wrestling. Unfortunately, there's no one asking the really tough questions. I did not see an interview of Spencer on why he didn't wrestle. Maybe it's out there and I missed it. That's possible. But I didn't
even think he needed to wrestle.
I figured he was just going to not show up at all. But then when you show up and make weight the first day, it's like, well, okay, why don't you come back and you only got 2 matches left. Might as well just finish the deal. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
And it didn't necessarily look like he was having the most inspired performances on day one.
He was just obviously way better than those guys. No problem there. No problem. I mean, Hellickson had some Gumby shoulders, which made it a little more difficult to get the turns. I don't want to surmise anything. I think that Spencer's fine. I think he just won the U.S. Open. If he wants to take the day off, I think he's earned the right to take the day off.
Yeah, and again, we've said this in the past. I think whatever decision Spencer Lee and the coaching staff had made, hey, they worked out for 2 years. So, we may all have our thoughts, our opinion, but our thoughts and opinion don't really matter to Tom Brands or Spencer Lee. And so until proven otherwise, I think their strategy and the decisions they've made and how those decisions have played out, regardless of public opinion, it's worked out pretty well.
Absolutely. Okay, so the other thing here in the semi, Pat Glory, Brock Hudkins. Pat Glory is a guy who you and I have both spoke very positive about. Listen, Matt, he was going to lose his match against Brock Hudkins. He got ridden out in the third period to send it to overtime. They're in a scramble. I swore the ref called the neutral danger zone 1, 2, 3. I swear I saw him swipe 3 hands there. And then at the same time, it's the same situation. It's literally I'm going to call it the most dangerous situation in wrestling. I'm going to say there's 2 people wrestling. This guy leg passes this guy, and they end up like this, and then the knees bend like this, right? And then this guy tries to sit up, and pop goes the knee, and that's what happens to Brock Huggins. Pop goes the knee. He lays down. I thought what happened was the ref was going to call 2 points. It's over. He's hurt. He'll default in the finals, but the ref said, no, I did not give 2 points. Brock Huggins cannot continue. Patrick Glory goes on to win in the finals against Michael D'Agostino. So
yeah, unfortunately, this is more of a theme than we ever want, reffing. And there's somewhat questionable calls in several situations, in a number of situations. This is one
the neutral zone, the neutral danger zone. It just adds a layer of complexity, which is adding difficulty to the refs' lives. That they have to watch out. Is it a takedown? Is someone getting hurt? Is there a neutral danger zone? There's all these things for them to watch out for all at the same time. So, man, they have to be pretty smart and sharp in processing everything. And obviously, I saw it numerous times where the referees they're not starting the neutral danger zone in time, because I think they're looking, okay, is this a takedown? What's going on here? And then they forget, oh crap, he's actually on his back. I should be counting now. And, they kind of, I don't want to say they blow it there, but there is a lot for them to watch out for.
There is. And I would rather them, and this was always my position, I would rather them err on the side of caution instead of calling quick 2, and then you have to wave it off or you have to go review it.
Sure.
And I get it. I mean, this is probably, to your point, the most difficult situation for college officials to navigate through, because they're all there's 3 different moving parts, and they're all in different areas. So it's not, and they don't intersect. They kind of diverge depending on how you call the situation. It's going to determine the reaction and the wrestling moving forward. So I've always taken the position, be more deliberate in your call, make sure it's there, and then go into it, then quickly call it, but don't just
I agree.
Don't jump into it in a reactionary way.
Yes.
Be sure that you understand. But I actually think, and you've mentioned this several times on the show, I think there should be some officials education specifically in these areas.
In the scrambles, yes.
In the scrambles, because it's the toughest for coaches to coach through in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
To decipher and distinguish how we need to react in these certain situations. How quickly do you react from danger? All these things. It's tough for athletes and coaches, so it's got to be tough for the officials. And I don't know how much they're actually being educated on these areas. Right. I know there's clips, but clip's
not enough.
Can't really.
Yeah, you need, and the clip is usually a referee talking about the situation, not someone who's highly educated on that specific scramble. Since you need to have been in those scrambles and know what it feels like to really truly say, okay, well at this point this guy can go this way, or this can happen, or this can happen. Because there are multiple things that can all happen at one time.
You're not calling for a move, you have to understand the situation to actually ref it.
Yes.
And I don't think there's necessarily, and this is no fault of the referees, I think they need to be educated on understanding the mentality of each opponent, each athlete, right? Like, hey, in this situation, this is what he's thinking. In this situation, this is what the offensive guy is thinking. This is what the defensive guy is thinking. And then it might give them a more informed thought process of how to make the call.
And you can start anticipating what is going on also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay. 133, best weight class, most fun weight class of the tournament. I guess let's just go straight to the semis. Is one semi. DeSanto kind of dominated Travis Piotrowski in the one semi. Gross Rivera, both a tale of 2 matches and a total complete disaster by the referee on this one. I mean, it was really unfortunate. Okay, so Sebastian Rivera is completely controlling the match. He has 3 takedowns. At which point, Seth Gross
3 takedowns to none. What?
3-0.
6-2.
6-2, and so Gross is about to get the escape. Pops over a lat drop, kind of out of nowhere. I didn't really know that was in his arsenal. He's winning 8-6 at that point, and they get in a scramble. And for what it's worth, so when the guy's in a back hook position, you know what I'm talking about, right, Matt? So we're back hooked inside, it's so dumb because there's no, as the guy holding on the leg, there's nothing you can do but hold on. If you let go, they're going to go behind you. They're already there, right? So you can't let go. So essentially, the ref lets them think around there Matt, forever. We're talking 60 seconds plus. Eventually then goes stall warning, stalling on Gross. 1 point. Oh, I'm sorry. The first stall warning was Rivera stands up and is holding on to Seth Gross's leg. And that's another way they game the system because the top guy can't return at that point. They can't even let go. If they let go, they're going to get reversed. So they call Seth Gross for stalling. They get in the scramble. They call stalling and stalling 1. Okay. Now, time is winding down. There's less than 10 seconds. The referee, there's no change in the position. The referee then calls 2 points Rivera. And then I think he says, oh, crap, what in the heck did I just do? Still no change. Goes 1 point escape, Seth Gross. And you're like, what's happening? This is chaos. This is mass chaos. It was not a reversal. It was not an escape. Nothing happened. They go watch it, and then they agree. In fact, there was no change in anything. 8-7 winner, Seth Gross. It was wild.
There's so much to unpack there.
It was like you know how he would have solved himself all the issue, Matt? If when there's in stalemate or in the back hook, just say stalemate, start over. Stalemate. You don't have to call stalling, you don't have to call reversal, you don't have to call escape, you don't do anything. Just stalemate. You're stuck there. Let's go back bottom wrestle again.
Now my problem with this is once they called the first stall call, there should have been continuation in the 5 count to continue another stall call. They should have gone right into a second stall call and given him another point, but they stopped.
I would have been so irate if there were another stall point there, though, Matt. That would have been so ridiculous.
That's the thing, Ben. That's the thing. Hold on.
I understand. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
that's the thing. Once you call that stall, award the point, and you don't change the position, the ref's supposed to continue. Once he reaches a 5 count, 1 point stalling, then you start counting again, 1, 2, and you give that verbal cue for the guy to change.
So annoying.
They didn't do that. I thought Rivera deserved another stall. I thought Gross should have been dinged again for stalling.
Stalemate. Put him back down. It was ridiculous. The guy from here.
Can't do that. I mean, once you call the stall call, you can't call stalemate.
I think you can't. You can't. Oh, I didn't know that part.
I believe once you call that, it's a continuation. And you keep going.
Okay, but this is again where the referees are educated on the scrambling. Because if I'm in a back hook situation, if I let my hands unclasp, you are almost 100% going to go behind me. Right. Maybe not 100%, but it's a really high number, 90-ish%. You're going to get to go behind because you're already almost there. It's a crap situation. You got to stalemate that.
It is. Yeah, but they probably should have, to your point, to the beginning, they should have stalemated that 30 seconds before that.
Yeah, there would have been 35, 40 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, it was a whole debacle there at the end.
Oh, my God, it was such a mess. Okay, so he wins. Okay, the Gross DeSanto was I don't think it was controversial. It was exciting. There was a lot of really good scrambles. I'm really impressed with Austin DeSanto's scrambling ability. Seth Gross won the first scramble, got the takedown, got the cradle. But then there was segments in both the second and third period where it looked as though Seth Gross a takedown was imminent, and DeSanto finds a way to scramble out of it and not give up the takedown. I thought that was really good by him. I was really impressed with the scrambling skills. I mean, Austin DeSanto, sometimes we rag on Iowa for not progressing people. But Austin DeSanto has gotten so much better over the course of the last 2 years.
Much better, and specifically in this area, this has got to be a bit of the Spencer Lee effect, right?
You'd have to imagine, yes.
So you can see he's comfortable. Like he wasn't just wrestling in this situation; he was comfortable wrestling through this situation with Gross. Like there wasn't 1 second where you sensed any panic or his body, even his body.
Yes.
There was no tension in his body. He was comfortably wrestling through, and at some points actually out wrestling.
Yeah,
Gross.
He did a really good job in there. I mean, I was really impressed. He also did a really good job in bottom. I mean, Seth rode him for a really long time. The first time he got on top, but then after that, was it 2 more times he's on bottom or just 1 more? Sorry, just 1 more time he was on bottom, but he escaped really quickly in the second period. Impressive.
And for me in that situation, even though he lost this match, I think he still applied some psychological damage and some psychological pressure to Seth Gross, knowing like Gross is like, okay, he made that adjustment. He came out fast. He got 2 and 2 essentially right away. Takedown, 2 near fall right away. That's probably the adjustment he needs to make every time. Like, okay, let's not putting DeSanto on his heels, but if I get up, that means he has to come at me. And will he make more mistakes? If he's forced to open up, if he's behind the 8 ball, if I'm chasing after Gross, does it play into Gross's favor? Yes, I think it does. I think, though, the mounting pressure that DeSanto created throughout the match favored him. But I also think him going on bottom is like, okay, you may have beat me, but I will go down.
Yeah, that was impressive. I mean, I think Seth can make a few adjustments. And, I think maybe he took for granted that he was going to ride DeSanto. And if he kind of locks him down a little more and takes a little slower on top, maybe he can get that ride. I guess that's something we'll have to see the next time these guys compete.
But I think the amount of energy that DeSanto made Gross exert on top, I think is foreign for Gross. I think he's so used to dictating the positions on top that he's the one sucking energy out of his opponent. What DeSanto did, even though he was working himself, he was making Gross exert a lot of energy on top as well.
Yeah, I agree totally. So that's a fun match. It's going to be a fun match going forward.
Actually, I had one more takeaway with that.
Oh, let's go. What do you got?
You wrestle that match, the Midlands Finals, which is a big-time match, televised, live-streamed, major event, but there's only a couple thousand people in the stands.
Yeah.
You better believe you pack 40,000 people in U.S. Bank Stadium.
Well,
there's more stall calls coming. If they wrestle again, there's stall calls coming for DeSanto.
Matt, I don't know, because that crowd was 85% Iowa fans at the Midlands. They were. It was really heavily Iowa based.
I know. As loud as they were, amplify that times 10 come Minneapolis or the Big Ten.
I don't know. I feel like it'll be a situation will be more 50-50 where, especially Seth Gross is from Minneapolis. There'll be a lot of people who would like to see him win. There's going to be a lot of Iowa fans. I mean, this is the first chance to win NCAAs in a decade. They're going to show up.
I'm just saying there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot more heightened emotion placed on the officials in the Big Tens and the NCAA finals. And I think you're going to see them call a match different ways. We started off the beginning of the episode talking about coaches chirping. A reason why a lot of coaches chirp, they're trying to influence the ref, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to get the call they want for their athlete. You amplify Tom Brands and Hawkeye Nation and have 20,000 people in the stands calling for a stall call. I'm telling you, that stall call is coming. He's getting stall calls in the third period if Gross wrestles the same way he did in the third period.
Yeah. Okay. I don't necessarily disagree. So nobody duels each other. Gross, Rivera, DeSanto, none of that triangle wrestles each other here in the second half of the season. So I think we'll probably then see them go into the Big Tens as number 1, 2, and 3. I wouldn't really assume any of those guys is going to lose to anyone else, I think that'd be fairly shocking, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
I would think so. So, yeah, okay. I guess RBY. Who's got? I guess Gross is wrestle RBY. Does DeSanto wrestle RBY? Yes, they do. January 31st. So maybe RBY can play a factor in here, but that would be the only guy. Okay,
he's got to be RBY. Would have to be the disruptor. Do they wrestle anybody else? Do they wrestle Wisconsin or
yes, they wrestle Wisconsin.
They do.
Yes, Wisconsin, Northwestern. I'm not sure. Okay, 141. Not all that exciting. Max Murin. I thought he looked good. I mentioned that earlier. Beat Josh Heil. Josh Heil beat Tristan Moran in the semis. Let's go to 49.
Big win for Heil. Big win for Heil.
Over Tristan Moran. I mean, they were all ranked fairly closely. So, oh, man, this is going to give us current rankings. So they were going into the weekend. Heil was actually ranked higher. So it was actually Heil was 7, Murin was 8, and Moran was 9. And now Murin's 7, Heil's 8, and Moran's 10.
Okay.
So relatively, not a huge amount of movement there. Yeah, so the other thing I want, 149 pounds, I thought was interesting because Austin O'Connor did not really look great. He had to run the gauntlet of Iowa, so he wins a pretty crazy match over Jaron Glosser, 6-5 in the semis. I'm sorry, in the quarters. Of which I thought there was a stall call and a takedown within, say, the last 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I thought both of, the stall call was warranted. I thought the takedown was clean. So he wins that. He then beats Iowa guy Vince Turk in the semis. In overtime, another really tough, close match. And then he kind of got hammered by Patrick Lugo. So I know Austin kind of was out with that broken arm, but he did not really look all that good all tournament long.
No, and I think that's probably, if you, not to make an excuse, but he's been out for a while. He broke his arm. I think he's got to get his legs back underneath him a little bit. But also, give credit to Lugo. I think the one thing that we've talked about with this guy is like, man, he plays it so close to the vest all the time. Eventually, it's gonna bite you in the butt. If you want to keep winning 1-point matches all the time. He didn't win 1-point matches this weekend.
He did against Max Thompson. It was 3-2.
But I think overall, like his point differential was like 56-6 on the weekend.
Yeah,
he was putting points on the board.
Sure. So this is one where I think this is like, when I talk about Iowa, it's like, okay, Murin's still on the cusp of, All-American, and he's ranked number 7 now. Lugo is one that, okay, they're going to get a huge amount of points for this because he went to number 1. But it's like, okay, could he lose to Jarrett Deegan again, or Max Thompson, or Sammy Sasso, or Brayton Lee? Would that be all that shocking? I think the answer is no. You wouldn't be all that shocked if you lost to one of those guys. It's definitely a possibility. Would you be shocked if he beat any of those guys? No, I'm not all that shocked by that. I think that's definitely a possibility. So, although Lugo goes all the way to 1, I don't think it's like a really for sure one that you feel solid about. Do you feel that same way about him?
Yeah, I don't think this is like a headline that's shaking things up, that are starting conversations, or people are drawing attention or looking at 149. It's like, I can see that. Nothing surprises me. And I think that's the case of 149 so far this year. Is like it's so packed.
Disaster.
It's a disaster. We don't know who's coming out. So the results we're getting is like, we really don't know what this weight class really is yet. And maybe it starts taking shape here over the next couple months. But right now, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, seriously.
What has been one unexpected result that we've gotten out of 149 where it's one of those headline things where people are like, oh, did you see this at 149? I don't think we've had one of those things. Maybe Sasso getting pinned, but
but he came back and avenged that a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
And actually, I heard a rumor that guy will not be starting and that Bryce Andonian is going to be the starter moving forward. I guess he had surgery last March maybe, and he's looking really good in the room.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Okay. That's I don't know if we'll see if it will come true, but I know I heard that rumor. Okay, 157, another one where Iowa wins. But it's not like, wow, okay. He is what we thought he was. He's good. The overtime match with Kendall Coleman was freaking outstanding. That scramble was, I think both parties had a chance to win about 3 times. Caleb Young kept hustling. Kendall Coleman lays on his back, he gets the pin. And then in the finals, this is funny, Matt. So first of all, that Marcus Hartman-Artelona semi was wild. But Marcus Hartman, who is the backup for Army, I had to look it up. Lucas Highland is the starter for Army. Marcus Hartman is the backup. He makes the Midlands finals and has a really competitive match. He gets taken down in overtime to lose to Caleb Young. So Caleb Young wins overtime match in the semis and the finals to win the Midlands.
And it's not like the weight opened up for him. Like, he made his breaks throughout the tournament. I mean, he knocked off Monday first round.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Then
number 1, number 8, number 4. Yeah, he had a really good run.
I'll tell you, that's a guy that wants to wrestle over Christmas, right?
Yeah, he ain't playing.
Yeah. I mean, that was impressive. I mean,
yeah,
I've never really heard of the guy. I mean, and he's a backup.
I know him because he was an Illinois kid, so I remember him being around a few years back. Okay. But yeah, to my knowledge, he hadn't done anything at the college level to this point. He's a backup, and he made the most of his maybe he got to stay home for Christmas. Just he went to Chicago, stayed home a few extra days, helped him out, and he went and kicked some butt at the Midlands.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, to Young, he looked really good. I mean, I know a lot of people were wondering where Deacon was at. I'm not sure about that.
Where was Deacon at? Matt, you know what? I don't know why. I didn't even think of that until you said it.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe, based on what Storniolo talked about in the summer, maybe this is part of the plan, trying to keep him, fresher. Again, this comes back to our discussion. What's the necessity or the need to compete over Christmas? Especially, I mean, he looks big. It's not like this guy needs 20 weigh-ins for the year. He looks like a guy, Deacon, like the fewer weigh-ins you can get him while keeping him sharp, probably the better for him.
Yeah, that's true.
But it must have been something, because when you're hosting a tournament like the Midlands, it's on your campus. It's one of the feature athletic events for the entire athletic department.
Yeah. It is not on campus, right? It's not on campus.
Right, but it's hosted by Northwestern.
Hosted, yes.
Hosted by Northwestern. It is one of the signature events for the university. You do want to perform well. I got to think, if I'm Storniolo and Northwestern, you always want to have a great performance at your host event, right? So you would think.
I don't know why I didn't think, where the heck is Ryan Deacon? I don't know why I didn't think of that. Weird. Yeah. I'm an idiot.
So there must have been, there had to have been something, you would think. I don't know.
Yeah, had to be something. Okay. Well, let's go 165. I think that my second favorite weight class of this tournament. You have David McFadden beating Evan Wick really late. I mean, obviously I'm helping out with Evan Wick, so this was a takedown that I wasn't really happy about. It happened with 1 second left in the match, Matt, when Evan Wick was up 6-5. He loses the scramble. McFadden gets taken down with 1 second left. Marinelli looks great all tournament, and he beats David McFadden 5-3 in the finals.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where we've seen this Marinelli, this version of Marinelli through Christmas three straight times. He's a 3-time Midland champ, which that can't be said by many people.
Well, it'll be 4. How many are 4? It can't be a lot. And
it can't be a lot, but I know he's going to have the opportunity next year to do that. But yeah, I mean, he's got people on lockdown. I don't think he's even been challenged or pushed yet this year.
Well, I mean, his I guess you're going to say his Evan Wick match wasn't really that close, but it was
a third period
takedown. Yeah.
Yeah, like last night, the score was close, but I think it was dominated by Marinelli. I don't think the outcome was ever. I mean,
yeah, it's fair. I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, and I think he was wrestling against a McFadden, was wrestling phenomenal, but he didn't really make it look like a match last night, even though the score itself was close. I thought it was dominated. Every part of the action was pretty much dominated by Marinelli.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fair. I don't think he was ever in any doubt. Marinelli's looking outstanding. But to your point, again, something we've seen throughout the last couple of years. He was undefeated going into Big Tens both of the last 2 years. And, it's kind of, I don't want to say flopped, but he has not had nearly as good of Big Tens and NCAA tournaments. We get to see him versus Vincenzo Joseph January 31st. That's going to be awesome. Looking forward to that. And then I guess the other big ones in his weight class, Wick will wrestle Isaiah White. Does Iowa wrestle? Hold on, I got their schedule up. Oh, he wrestles Isaiah White. That would be January 18th at Carver Hawkeye Arena. So he's got a few big ones coming up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should be fun.
Okay. 174, Dylan Lighty. All this guy does is win, Matt. He is now 20-0. I don't think anybody else is 20-0 in NCAA wrestling right now, are they?
No.
20-0. No. It's freaking December 31st. The man's 20-0. It's impressive. I thought he's been great. He's won the 2 toughest tournaments so far this year, being the Midlands and the Cliff Key. There's nothing fancy or pretty about this guy, but he just wins and wins and wins.
That's all that matters, right?
That's all that matters.
Just win, baby.
Yep.
Just win.
And Purdue had this is their first of 2 champions. Obviously, a program that we've talked about on the upswing. They're doing really, really good things. Okay.
Really good things. I mean, they have 4 or 5 guys that look like they could score points at the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely.
Not just a match. I mean, they look like guys that could win 2+ matches. They have 4 or 5 guys that look, at least good for two wins.
Well, I think you could see if you said Lighty, Bruner, and Kendall Coleman, if you said those 3 guys All-American, I'm not shocked in the slightest. I think I would lean towards that happening. I think they're all probably ranked in the top 8 right now. So, yeah, Purdue's right now putting together a pretty damn good team.
Yeah. Yeah, so give it to Tony Ursland. He's doing a really good job. This is year 5 for him, I think, right around that point.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So, yeah, things it seems to be going in the right direction. I mean, they're competing hard as a team, so it's always good to see teams with multiple high-level performers, and it seems like Purdue's got multiple high-level performers. Yeah, it takes all kinds, right? You got a lady, he just wins, Bruner, I think I was really impressed with Bruner, and we're jumping ahead, so let's get to 84 first.
Oh, yeah, don't skip 184. 184 is all about the Hawkeyes, Matt. This weight is both, I think, a blessing and a disaster. They have Abe Assad, who's in redshirt, make the finals.
And who's it a blessing and who is it a disaster to? Both are for the Iowa side, right? It's a blessing for
absolutely.
Iowa. But
what did he do?
For him too.
Yes, okay, because Cash Wilkie looked like he was kind of out, right? Well, he beats Nelson Brands in the blood round and then comes all the way back, taking 3rd place, beating the guy who beat Nelson Brands on the front side, Zach Braunagel. Meanwhile, Abe Assad, who's redshirt, makes the finals, beating Zach Braunagel, who beat Nelson Brands. I don't know what to do here. This is kind of like, oh, my God, what do you do? If you start Nelson Brands, is this a favoritism type of thing looking? Obviously, Matt, you're a college coach. There's a lot of things that are going to decide who the starter is and not just who wins the wrestle off or who does better in tournament. There's a whole bunch of things you're looking at. But they have a really tough decision to make in this weight class. And this is another one where it's like we talk about putting all hands on deck. Hey, if Abe Assad's the best guy, do you just go ahead and start Abe Assad? And I think the answer to that is, yeah, you probably do.
I would. I
don't see why not.
You want your 10 best guys out there. I mean, if you want to, again, I would not leave any stone uncovered. I would go above and beyond.
Seriously, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I was Iowa, I would have to be at the point like, hey, why don't you got 2 guys wrestle elsewhere and destroy the competition for me? Kind of like the Russian thing. When Russian athletes go where else? You could beat everybody else, but when you wrestle the Iowa guy, you got to lose to him. Take out the competition. And then when you wrestle Iowa, you can't beat us. But that's a joke. But yeah, I mean, that's That's probably the simplest decision if you're the Iowa coaching staff, because this weight class is shaping up to be one of those Big Ten game time decisions, like who's the 84 coming out for Iowa. The way it's shaping up right now, it could go down to February.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you just make if you're the Iowa coaching staff, it's like, guys, you know what? We're putting the 10 best guys out there. And that means, you know what, Jaden Ironman, you're our best at 141. We're putting you out. Abe Assad, you're our best guy. You're in red shirt. We're pulling you out. 10 best guys go. Here's the team we're rolling out from here to the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
Easier said than done. Again, it's funny now that I'm sitting behind the microphone. It's easy making these calls.
Way easier.
But yeah, I mean, that's a really, really tough decision, because you're talking about three legitimate All-American guys. But you're looking at, for me, you're looking at point potential, not just placement potential, point potential, and who brings that to the table. And you've got the brackets ahead of you. Could you roughly go through, like, who had the most bonus points of those?
Oh, of Iowa?
Yeah.
Well, obviously Nelson didn't have very many matches because he got knocked out in the blood round. He has no bonus points, so he's got decision, and a loss and a loss. Let's see, Cash Wilkie. He's the number 9 seed. So where's he at? So he got a major. He loses to Johnny Sebastian. I guess I can go on the backside. On the backside, he goes major decision, win over Brands. He goes 3-2 over Jack Jessen. He goes 7-4 over Andrew Morgan, 5-3 over Zach Brennan. None of these guys are bonus guys, Matt.
No.
They just aren't. And let's see, Abe Assad. I'm just going to confirm on Abe Assad.
He had one tech ball. Everything else was a decision.
Yeah. 5-3, 8-6, 2-0. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
that actually kind of compounds the situation. Actually makes it even more difficult, because you're looking, who's the best decision guy we got?
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's like a revolving chair. It seemed like, a month ago, Brands was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, at certain points, in the last 2 months, we're 2 months into the season, and we're talking about 3 different guys in the span of 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a problem that they're going to have to solve. Okay, let's go 197. You complimented Christian Bruner already. He won the tournament. For me, again, the story is, it's all Iowa, right? Iowa's the story of this tournament. But Jacob Warner looks not that great. He loses to JL in the semifinals in a match where he was just totally he was gassed out, man. He was so gassed. He could barely come back to the center in the third period, loses in overtime, and then gets beat 10-5 by Patrick Brucke, and Brucke got 4 takedowns to 0 in that match. Where right before this you had Jacob Bruner being
ranked.
That's
the thing. Brucke kind of looked suspect during the tournament too.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. But man, that's a tough performance. Especially you got Ben Darmstadt coming back up to 197 pounds. So.
Which his results, I know we're not getting into South Beach, but his results look pretty good at 97.
Yeah.
He started rolling guys up again.
Yeah, probably has a lot more energy. Probably should have never cut to 184. I don't really know what he was thinking on that one. So Bruner looks good though. JLO, I don't know. He just didn't necessarily look great at Las Vegas. Looks good here, but kind of gets handled by Christian Bruner in the finals. Anything else about this weight class that you want to comment on?
I just thought Bruner, man.
I want to make sure. I want to confirm. He lost to Jacob Seeley and Greg Bulsack at Las Vegas. So, JL did not have the best of Las Vegas at all. I was thinking that in my head. I went and checked it out, and I confirmed that.
Yeah. No, I don't have a lot to comment about that. I was going to say I was extremely impressed. Bruner's just a tough dude, man. He's just tough.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like he's just a slightly less version of Colin Moore, which we saw out at Las Vegas. But man, he really impressed me with his toughness, especially his defense. He just grit tough. Like he was dead to right. dead to rights on a number of occasions, and he just flat out toughed the guy in the situations.
Yeah,
just flat out toughed him, fought through the situation. Like it was especially, I think it was on that head outside single in the second or third period where, I mean, I thought the stalemate was the best possible scenario, and I didn't even think a stalemate was possible. He somehow defended it and took the guy down, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on technique. It was just flat out toughness on the guy, which, I'll take that all day.
Yeah. I agree. Totally. Okay. Heavyweight, last weight class. Cassiope looks great because I'll tell you what, I'm obviously helped out with Trent Hilger. Stencil looked great against Hilger. He looked really good in every position. And then Cassiope kind of dominated Stencil. So I think that's a really good sign if you're a Hawkeye fan. He didn't necessarily have any other close matches. He won 6 over Elam, 11-5 over Carter Isley, and then 5-1 over Matt Stencil. You are liking what you're seeing out of Anthony Cassiope if you are a Hawkeye fan.
I mean, you got to think we don't know what's going on with Kassar. Stevenson's just back in the lineup. We know he's going to be the guy for Minnesota now at heavyweight. If I'm Brands and the Hawkeyes, I got to be thinking Cassiope can make a run to the finals.
Yeah,
if Kassar's not in there, even if he is in there, because we were talking a little bit last night. I tell you what, man, you get a guy with Cassiope's mass and his riding ability. And
he's very large.
He gets a guy like Kassar's wrist and runs it out to the side, runs out front, like, ooh. I mean, Kassar's got shoulder trouble right now, man. If Cassiope gets out to the side on this guy,
he's got some serious shoulder trouble.
Serious issues. Yeah. I'm really impressed. I think this is a guy that can make the finals. I really do.
Seriously.
Maybe I'm just,
No, you're right on. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Wow.
So impressive a performance. What? This is surprising. Like, this is the most Midlands champs that Iowa has ever had.
Ever?
I thought I saw that headline.
They said the most points they ever had. I didn't know it was the most champions they also had either. Yeah, I mean,
maybe
really
I read that headline wrong. Yeah, maybe I read that wrong.
You could definitely be right. It would just seem that they had such dynamic teams. Like, I guess maybe when they had the really dynamic Gable teams, that the Midlands was a lot tougher. I guess maybe that would be the case. But either way, they set a point scoring record. They look really good. They had, what's this? Let me count this up. 12 placers on their team. So I think, Matt, I can't wait for January 31st. That's Penn State, Iowa. That's something I think we'll both be looking forward to. That's going to be an awesome dual meet. Okay, we'll be back. We got the scuffle starting. It's tomorrow and then Thursday. So we'll hop on Friday morning. We'll talk about what happens at the scuffle. And then, looking forward to – Matt, I tell you, when we were doing our podcast right after the U.S. Open, I was just so excited about what was going to happen at the Olympic team trials in April. And I wasn't even thinking about this college season. And now Midlands happens, and I'm like totally forgot about the Olympic trials again. And I'm just like really zoned in on the college season. I'm excited for this to unfold.
No, without a doubt. It finally seemed like we can flip the script a little bit and just focus on college. There's, with Bill Farrell and qualification, guys being able to qualify there and then go into the Open. Now it seems like we can completely dedicate our focus to the college season for the next 2.5 months, running up to the NCAA tournament. So it should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Okay, that's it for us. Episode 113 is in the books. We'll talk to you guys after the Southern Scuffle. Have a happy New Year.
See you, Ben.
Peace.